Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Today we're making this super cute extra large tote. This is perfect for the beach. It's perfect for daycare. It's perfect for a diaper bag. It's perfect for all kinds of things. And the best part is it's made out of a beach towel. So all you have to do is throw it in the laundry with the rest of your laundry and you're good to go. I personalize mine with the Cricut Easy Press. You could easily embroider on the front or all kinds of different options to make it uniquely yours. So let's jump over to my craft room and we'll get started. Okay, I'm starting out with a simple beach towel. I got this at Walmart and I'm just folding it in half, folding the length in half. And what I'm trying to do is get this all lined up so that I can shorten the sides of this. We're going to leave the tops, those two finished tops, and the sides, we're going to leave those untouched, but we're going to be cutting off the folded end. And we're just doing this to make it a little bit shorter and to also provide us the fabric for our handles. Now I'm using my Cricut rotary cutter and my Cricut mat to line this all up. So I folded it in half and then I folded it in half again, and that's just giving me enough room to cut this, and it will easily cut through all 4 layers. Now I'm lining it up on the Cricut mat to make sure that I'm cutting straight. You can see my folded edge down there on the bottom is lined up with one of the horizontal lines on my Cricut mat. And now I'm using my acrylic ruler to help me line things up. I'm going to cut this to approximately 22 inches long. The mat is 24 inches, so I'm cutting 2 inches off. I'm a lefty, so I'm working kind of backwards. And you can see I'm using the acrylic ruler to make sure it is lined up horizontally with my fabric. And then using the rotary cutter, I'm going to slice through, and it easily sliced through all 4 layers of the towel at once. Now this is the base of our bag. We're going to set that aside. Now we're going to make our handles from the piece that we cut off. I'm going to fold it in half so that the short ends are all lined up. And then we're going to cut 2 strips 5 inches wide. And again, I'm just using my acrylic ruler. I'm lining up those vertical lines with the vertical side of my fabric or my towel. And I'm just going to slice right through it. And we're making 2 5-inch wide handles. We're going to set that aside and one more 5-inch slice. Again, just lining up that acrylic ruler. I really love the ruler and the rotary cutter and this mat. They make everything so much easier. Okay, so now we're going to make the handles. You're going to take one of your 5-inch strips. Make sure you close that rotary cutter when you're not using it. It's really easy. You just push the blue button. You're going to fold one of the handles in half lengthwise, and you can use an iron here. I'm not, just for the sake of the video. If I normally I would. But you're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to fold each side in to that center point, just like I'm doing here. And you can finger crease it. It's a little bit harder with the towel because it wants to naturally roll back out. So if you hit it with an iron, it's going to help you a little bit. And then you're going to fold the other side in. So we've used this method a lot in a lot of our tutorials. And then you're going to fold those 2 pieces in half. And you're going to clip it. Make sure that you get your ends nice and lined up because they're going to show more than the rest of it. But once you get it all clipped, it should look something like this. And just take your time. If you don't have clips, you can use pins, you can use binder clips, whatever works for you. And now you're going to repeat that exact same process with your other handle. Fold it in, and then fold it in half and clip. Once you have both handles clipped, you're going to take it to the sewing machine and you're going to sew along the open end first. And then you're going to repeat and sew along the opposite long end. If you want, you can put several stripes of stitches to make more of a quilted handle, or just use 2. I'm just going to use 2. And you can see my finished handles here. I've just sewn along both of the long edges. All right, now it's time to work on the bag. Grab one of your bag pieces, and the finished end of the towel, where the biggest hem is, that's going to be the top of the bag. So you're going to orient it so that that top edge of the towel, so you have the finished edge there, and then you have the two side seams that are finished, and the bottom is raw. So that raw edge should be facing down. You're going to fold the short end, the short finished end, in half, and then fold that in half again, and mark that place with a thumb or your pen or whatever, and that's where your first handle is going to go. You want to place it about an inch below, an inch and a half to 2 inches below the edge of the fabric, and pin it in place. Now you're going to make sure your handle is not twisted. Open it up. And this is how I did it. You could measure it by just eyeballing it, but I just counted on my mat the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's in the 7th square. So I'm going to go over to the other edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 7 inches from the edge. It really depends on your towel and how big it is. But once you find that center point on the first one, you can just measure and match it. So here I am matching it back up. And again, you want to place the handle an inch and a half to 2 inches down from the top and clip. Try to get them even. And then if you want to double check it, just fold it in half again and see if your handles are lining up. And if they're not, make your adjustments accordingly. But they should be pretty close. And this does not have to be perfect. This is a beach bag. I'm not too worried about it. And I'm also checking to make sure that my handle is not twisted. Now that we have this one in place, we can use this as a template for our second side. So we're going to take our other piece of the bag, and we're going to, I was going to rip that tag off, but I don't think it's going to cooperate. We'll leave that as is. Now we're going to just meet up our handles with the piece on top, or the piece underneath, and attach. Now you can put the handles on the first bag I put the handles on the outside of the bag. After I did it, I wished I'd put them on the inside, so I thought I would do this one on the inside. So you can do it either way, whatever you want. And so now we have both of those in place. You're going to take it over to your sewing machine and you're going to sew a square, and then you're going to sew an X through that square. And you're going to do that on all 4 handles. And it's hard to see, but I wanted to show you what it looks like. So I sewed a square, and then I sewed an X through the square. And you want to do that on all 4 of your handles. All right, now that we have all 4 handles, we're going to put our first piece down so that the wrong side is down. And your beach towel may not have a wrong and a right side, so that's up to you. But I'm putting what I'm considering the inside of the bag face down. And then I'm putting the pretty sides together. And you're going to line it up and clip. Make sure when you're clipping that everything is lined up on the top and the bottom. It's kind of hard to work with because it is so large. And clip that raw edge on the bottom. And now you're going to take it over to the sewing machine and you're going to start at one corner, and I sew right inside that seam allowance all the way across the bottom and up to the top. Make sure you backstitch at the beginning and the end. But I follow right along that edge. Make sure that you catch both pieces of material, both the front and the back. Make sure everything stays lined up. At this point, you could actually just turn the bag right side out and call it a day and be done with it. You've got finished edges on the 2 sides and the top. However, we have this raw edge at the bottom. And just to give it a more finished look, I would recommend taking it over to your sewing machine and zigzagging within that seam allowance to finish off that edge, or if you have a serger, which is what I'm going to do, you're going to serge off that end. And you can see here what a finished look that gives the bag. Now I like to take it one step further, and again, you could just turn it right side out and you would be good to go. The tote bag's totally functional at this point, but I like to box those corners. I think it gives the tote a little bit more structure and a little bit more room. So what you're going to do is go to the side seam on the bottom, and you're going to match up that side seam with that bottom seam. Make sure those are perfectly in alignment. And you're going to stretch the material out so that you're looking at it like this. And you're going to measure down 4 inches from that point. Now make sure the bottom and the top seam are in alignment. That will assure that you've got this right in the center. But from the tip down 4 inches, and you can just use a ruler and measure right from that tip if you want. I'm using the squares on the mat. And then I'm going to use a ruler. You can use a straight edge, a book, whatever you have, just something to give you a straight line. I'm using an erasable fabric pen. This is a Pilot Fusion pen. And I'm just marking that across. Now I'm going to double check it that it's 4 inches from the tip to my line, and it is. So now you just want to pin or clip that into place. And I prefer to use pens for this just because the towel wants to move around. There's a lot of material here. So I'm just going to pin it into place. And then we're going to repeat the exact same process on the other side. So turn it over to the other bottom end. Reach inside, match the front and the back seams. Make sure they're lined right on top of each other. You're going to measure down 4 inches and make a mark. Once you have both sides marked and pinned, you're going to take it over to your sewing machine and you're going to sew right along that line that you drew, and make sure that you sew on and off the fabric and that you backstitch. That will assure that you have a nice boxed corner. So I have sewn across both of my drawn lines, and I'm just using a hot iron to erase those ink marks. That's what I love about these pens. I'm trying to be careful not to touch my mat. It is not heat proof. And that's it. If you want, you can cut the remaining material off of that corner right here. However, I just leave it in there. With this bag being as soft as it is, it gives a little bit of extra structure. I don't think it looks bad. It's all finished edges, and you just turn it right side out and you're ready to go. All that's left to do is personalize it. I got this SVG from Love SVG. I used my Cricut Maker to cut it out and the Cricut Easy Press to apply it. And I think it makes a really cute gift. This would also be a fun, I think, graduation gift for kids going to college. Stuff it with some beach towels and some fun things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.